Okay. Well, this is Andre Matos. I am the singer for Symfonia.
All right, brilliant. The first thing that I wanted to notice was the first thing I wanted to know was like when the band was formed.
Well, it was formed actually about a year ago. In this 1 year period of time, there was lots going on, and actually it all went pretty fast. From the initial idea, of working together till the actual album that's out now. It actually happened after I moved to Sweden from Brazil. I'm originally from Brazil. Timo Tolkki gave me a call. I mean, we've been friends for many years and always kept in touch here and there, but never actually thought about working together on something. And he gave me a call and said, Andre, I know that you're now currently living in Sweden, and that's pretty much around the corner from me in Finland. Why don't we catch up some of these days, and we could even maybe start writing some stuff together? And that sounded pretty cool to me. I mean, Timo is a great friend and also one of the few musicians in this scene that I really always have admired. So I thought, why not? Let's give it a try. And whenever I had some free time, I went actually to Helsinki, to Finland. So we met, and then the whole thing started up. In the beginning, we didn't have any idea of like what it would turn into, if it would be a real band, if it would be just like a project between the both of us. So in the beginning, it was just like, I have this idea, that other one, we can, do songs like this, and it was pretty fluent in a way to work together. And after we had a couple of songs already down, already composed, and also the other guys, the other members actually joined this band, then we started to think about it a little bit more seriously. That could be really a real band. Although at this point of our career, we didn't expect like to put up a new band. That was not in our plans, but it just happened like this.
Yeah, that's kind of something I noticed. I mean, you've had quite an illustrious career, I mean, you've been in a lot of, good bands, if not great bands. I was just wondering, at this point in your career, creating this band, let's say if something happened to this band, what would you do, if you get me? Like how long have you got left? I mean, it's going to sound bad, but how long have you got left, if you got me? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand, of course. That's why maybe there was some kind of I wouldn't say rejection, but, caution, in the beginning, like, should we really do a real band at this point, because I've been working for the last 5 years, at least on my solo band, which is completely different. I have like a full power over it and full freedom to decide and to do whatever I think it's cool. But and the solo band still goes on. It's something that I keep. They sit back in Brazil now, so I'm actually flying to Brazil next month to perform a couple of concerts with them. That's why, for me, at that point, it was okay with my solo band. I mean, we put out like 2 albums already out, and we toured a lot all over the world, so it was fine. But this call, from Timo and the other guys, I mean, that was something really exciting for me, in a way that it was the opportunity to work with such great guys. And after we had the result in our hands, I mean, after we saw what kind of music we were able to do together, and all the expectation around this gathering, it actually shaped itself in a different way. So there was some extra power indeed, left for doing this, and we're very happy with it. It's very fresh for us, anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. You were saying how comfortable you guys were, like perform, like writing music, how fluid and went. That's something I definitely noticed when listening to your music. You can, for me, my opinion is you can definitely hear each band's influence, and thus I thought that that this band might be like the most comfortable you have ever felt, if you get me, because it's obviously
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, this was kind of a... Sorry to interrupt you.
I mean, no, that was
This was
that.
some kind of agreement between us from the beginning on. Like, okay, we're gonna do something together, all of us. What should we do? I mean, to be really honest, there was no pretension of recreating something completely new out of the blue. You understand?
Mm.
It's very natural that we bring across our past influences, our past background. I mean, all of us that are involved in Symfonia, we have a sort of a similar background. We have been parts of other known bands and into the same kind of musical style. So it was very natural for us to not try to, let's say, to fake it in a way that we have to do together what we know best, what comes naturally out of us, and without a pretension of, reinventing the wheel at this point. Because if we talk about experimental stuff and some originality in music, this is something we have been trying to do over the last years, all over the last years. I mean, either with our past bands or our solo projects, our solo bands, and we will still do it. But with Symfonia, the focus was a different one. It was like, we are curious to see what we can do together and what we can put out like as the best of each one of us, obviously related to the best that each one of us brings across.
Okay, one of the things that I would quite like to know myself then is, in your opinion, what does each band member bring then? If I would have to say like you bring like the high power vocals. What does Timo bring differently from his, guitarist and that was his name.
I can talk briefly about each one of them. Like Timo, besides his great guitar playing, he's very talented and does it with such a facility that it's unbelievable to see when he holds the guitar. But he's a great composer. This is one of the most important things. I mean, he has such a creative mind that really made it very easy for me to work together with him. And besides that, he's a great producer. I mean, he's the producer for the album. So besides all the musical side, he has also this technical side. He knows exactly how to figure out the sound and the best equipment and the best environments for each one of the instruments or the voice, the mix and everything. So I would say he's very complete, sort of a creative mind. And with such a big working power, he really went through all this process non-stop and restless, basically. So this is to talk about Timo, and then we have Yari, the bass player. I remember when I met those guys the first time, it was during a tour that we made together in '99, all across Europe. It was Angra and Stratovarius. And I was very, very impressed by both Timo and Yari. Yari seemed to me such a stable bass player, such a trustable one, with such cool lines and cool way of playing. And absolutely he didn't disappoint me in this album. He's really like one of the best bass players I've ever worked with. Then we have Uli Kush, which is a big name in the scene as a drummer. And I was actually curious also what Uli would bring in, as an input for this work. And it was also real fascinating what he did. I mean, this guy, he recorded the whole album, the whole drumming part, in about 2 or 3 days only. And it's not about the speed that he is able to record, but his lines and his sounding are absolutely of so good taste. You know, I was very impressed with his good taste for creating the lines and for sounding. And this is something you probably only can get out of a very seasoned, experienced musician like Uli Kush. And he also really impressed me. And at last, we have the keyboard player, Mikko. And this is the only guy I didn't have so much reference before we started working together, and I was a little bit in the air, you know, what he would bring into. And he was also surprising because Mikko has a kind of upside-down mind by thinking about the keyboards. He is a different keyboard player. He plays kind of unconventional stuff. Of course, he did everything the music requested, you know, all the orchestral stuff and symphonical stuff that it's requested. But besides that, he's very creative and he's very unusual on his way of playing the keyboards. And I think it completed the team and completely fit together all of those musicians and their influences and their inputs to the final result of this album.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you guys are very talented. Actually, for the record, this is a bit off subject, but Mikko was obviously involved with Sonata Arctica with Last Drop Falls. Sonata Arctica with the album Silence, and he was a part of creating like a lot. I'll be honest, I love that album, and especially the keyboards off it. So I was like, wow, you know.
Very talented guy and very passionate guy for the music. You know, this is what we just found out. You know, everybody kind of has the same kind of passion for the music, the same kind of point of view, and in this band, you know, we're not there. Commercial-wise talking, you know, we're not there like to be famous or to make money. It's really the pleasure of playing with each other that moves it on, and that was a very great thing to discover, you know, and it's probably the main reason why we're doing it.
Okay, and that quite swiftly moves me on to talking about the album, actually, where your music comes from.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just wanting to ask about your album in Paradisium, and just to start off, like the title. I was just wondering why call the title the title that is.
Okay. There is a sort of a concept, you know, behind the whole thing. This is not a conceptual album on itself, but there is a main idea. There is a main hook line for all of the songs, and especially the title song. If you take a look at the front cover artwork, you know, this kind of translates what it is about. And it's also kind of unconventional kind of concept. I mean, we had the idea of somehow proposing some reflection about what if we would project the idea of paradise into the future. So, just to make it clear, like when we think about paradise, normally we have an old-fashioned kind of idea. You know, we think about this medieval kind of thing, this biblical kind of thing, Renaissantist paintings, angels, cherubims, peaceful environment, and so on. If we think about future, normally we are thinking about, especially nowadays, I mean, war, destruction, cataclysms, apocalypse, and all this negative kind of things. So, what if we throw paradise into the future? What if we would start facing the future as a positive thing and mix those both concepts together, you know? So this was the main idea, and that's basically what led us to write most of the lyrics and most of the songs in this